very well done. Like, this choreo is freaking sick. Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield and I'm a professional dance choreographer and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States, and we are taking a look at Billie's The Strange World. We're going to be looking at a music video, a dance practice, and a draft from the choreographer. I'm excited for this for two reasons. Firstly, it's a Patreon request. Shout out to Shelby for the request. Very excited for this. And secondly, this is the first time I am looking at Billlie. I've heard of this group, but I have not seen any of their material before, so I feel like this is the best way for the worlds to collide, for us to enjoy our time, see what this is all about. So let's go ahead and check it out. Oh, GingaMingaYo. GingaMingaYo. Okay, fun. Strangey world. Little Harlem Shake on left and right. Fun. That is scary. X or O. Ooh. Hey, I love that. Was it just a dream all along? What's about to happen? Twinkle twinkles. That was a very strange finish. Do they have lore? Maybe. Wouldn't shock me at all. Here we go. Okay. JJ. Yeah, Kim. I mean, I am gonna know who the choreographer is pretty soon, but okay. There's a reason why I watched the music video first. Normally I watch the dance practice first, which is this, but it's because I do know there is a demo. And so I wanted to do the music video, this, then the demo, and then, you know, kind of, so I can have a better comparison instead of going dance practice, music video, demo. I wanted to go in this order. So my apologies if you were like, Jessica, you spoiled it. Sorry. Okay, let's look at just the choreo here. I'm assuming this is gonna be a fixed cam. I'm pumped about it. Fun. That's a fun add-on there. Ooh, I like the choices on that. I really like the choreo on this a lot. Yeah. Strangey world. This is very well done in the structure of it. They also have an odd number, which does help on a lot of these visuals. Cute. These little glitch effects are cute. Very tricky to get some of these angles as quickly as they have them. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Pop, pop, pop. Fun. Really fun in the showcase of the face on this. Cute. Very well done. Like, this choreo is freaking sick. I'm excited to talk about it. And I'm also curious, how different is it? You know what's so fascinating? It feels this way. Yes, the choreographers, the dancers, right? What this looks like compared to what I just saw, this feels like a cover group of what I just watched. Does that make sense? Because they have a lot of spunkiness about it. They'd be one of the best cover groups we'd ever see, obviously, because it's that type of overlapping movement quality. You see more extroversion in some of their choices in their hips and their chest here, because they're allowed that type of liberty. Because a lot of them don't have to factor in singing at the same time, like you do if you're an idol. This is so fun. These shifts in the face are really fun. Fun. X or O. Yep. That visual was cleaner on Billlie. That was so like the Swift on that. But I like the spunkiness of what they're bringing though. It's fun. Yep, nice. Fun. This definitely carried like a way heavier, what's the word? Way spunkier presence here. The other one, so like when Billlie does it, it's so clean. Like it's really, really clean. And you can see the textures and the dynamics collectively. Like it's a collective decision. In this case, everyone was more individualized in their choices, but it makes it really fun. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. This balance right here is tricky. Yep, little Harlem shake on that. I'm curious. Oh, so that's so fun. So they ended up teaching the choreo as well as what this is a class format. And of course, I think the rest of the video is everybody doing it in different groups, which I find to be super, super fun. I like it. I think it's a whole vibe. Okay, but we're here for Billlie. Here we go. From the top. So it's GingaMingaYo, I think. maybe. I think this is really fun. Okay, music video, song itself, not my vibe, not really my favorite type of song, but I really like the choreo. Choreo is definitely on my palette of taste for sure. Really fun. This very beginning here, I love that you have some of them create this nice little accent right here, and then you have others. Notice just the choice of the hand. It does look like everybody except for one person has the right hand initiated, which I find interesting, but it doesn't look off at all. That's what I find intriguing about it. It is also fascinating that she's not mirrored, but she's within this grouping, and then you have mirrors here, and then she's not even doing it, and she is. It's a very fascinating formation setup that shouldn't look balanced, but it does, if that makes sense. It's cool, it's cool. I love that choice. She goes, she takes it, folds it over her partner's chin, and I love that little moment there. Charisma is so fun. I love how they sit in the hips on this stylized hand. Really well done on this. It feels very well rehearsed, which makes it very fun to take a look at because I can see the work ethic very presently known here. Also notice that everybody has intention of where they're placing their hands and how far apart their hands are. They have it grazed over the knees. Really fun. You have your middle group with their arms up by the head. Very fun. Switching it over, da-da-da, nice little presentation. They rotate it over using the hands, and of course, because they're wearing pants, I mean, one of them's wearing shorts, but she does have, you know, fabric. Fabric does help you in the rotation effort. You want to subtly lift the legs in order to keep the shape, but you don't want the legs to drag across the floor in traction. So I like this choice. Looks cool, and the tension there, boom, with the pull out of the arms, or yeah, just the extension of the arms, and then it folds into a bent pike position, which is cool. Ding ding, and then they bring it back in. So this bow 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 bow, really, it's so spunky. It's the track is spunky, like the backbeats are. That it does feel like a lot of their phrases feel out of tune. I think that's probably why it doesn't feel like it's following any sort of like. It doesn't feel like it's on pitch, if that makes sense. Some of their phrases, it feels more like declarative. It reminds me of Red Velvet just a smidge, but like their earlier stuff where it's just they say it and you're like, was that on pitch? Like it just makes you think that question, and they don't have to. They can do whatever they want. I just find it interesting. I do like these walks here. I mean, they could have turned them into a duck walk, but it's just a squatted walk with the bounce. The switching of the legs I think is really fun with the head, and then they take it, boom, ding ding. And you have the girls that did more of that kind of squatted walk. They face the front, they separate the knees, everybody's touching their knees, which I think is really nice. It feels complementary to those who are on a different level represented than those on the ground. They take their legs, the shoulder, and then they do the boom on the base. Really nice seeing that leg on the ground. Great choice, hit, and then I like with the little crown, your feature's the only one with her arm up. Really clear to see where she is. I like the switch, which is nice. Go to the inside, Billlie, and they cover, it does look like they're covering their eyes here. Subtlety of not really quite Star Trek. I mean, I do feel like we do have some Star Trek moments, but it does feel just the index finger is going across. Fun choice. Down, up, really nice. New feature has entered the chat. She's facing the front. Really nice seeing her here. She picks her arms up. Just the complete like indifference. It's such a vibe. I really like it. Where everyone's facial expressions showcase individuality, but everybody can hold it down in where their arms, their hands are placed. It just makes it really fun to see them collectively. Taking the arms, they da-da-da-da, really nice on hitting that bum-ba-da-dum on the back, and then they go fold it towards the inside, framing very well. Having one of your dancers in the back with her arms up, it showcases a different level, so notice that it does create more of a triangle position, looks great, and they do have a lot of energy happening in the center, a little grouping in the center. It kind of feels like they're trying to be like split center, but not really, because you have it more of a subtle diagonal right there in the center. Looks great. I love the subtlety. Ba-da-da. So they kind of sit in it, bump it up, and then they do a little ball change to get us reset. Having this arm right there next to the shoulder to make it a fun moment. She says down, and they all drop down. Maybe I could turn on the subs here. My shoulders are going down. So there was a nice choice syncopation before they drop. Then she takes it. What should I do? Are going down. So she takes her shoulders and brings them back up. Makes sense where her hand placement was in that moment. coming in, ding ding. I like how they go out and they fold those wrists in, dee. So there's a lot of those little embellishments that take place with these types of positions throughout the choreo, and I really like it because it feels like a subtle surprise. It feels like little like sprinkles on a dessert. It feels like that, which I think is really fun. Even though there's something, so they're creating some sort of shape in the space, which I think is really nice. Ringling inside of me. This part right here, she's talking about inside because they kind of established more towards the core. So when we think on the inside of ourselves, we're going to think around our torso area, you know, when things go wrong in our body, a lot of times it happens in the torso. So when we think inside, we think that, right? Just like, you know, babies are right here in the torso, things like that. I think that's where imagery, a lot of us go towards our torso. So it makes sense why ringling inside of me, she travels it up inside, which is nice. They go back in. I love a lot of these choices where you notice that there's proper shaping and framing happening with a lot of our girls. And in the top, they're creating a fun, more of a legato presence. And I like my center. She's doing a great job having fun, presenting out, being very open. I hold it in like a grown-up. And I like this rotation to get them up. Really good on the momentum and good job on their range to make sure everybody's on the same page whenever they do that. And they hit it through. This does have a kind of a childlike posture about this particular move because it feels like a fun march. And so I find that a bit ironic compared to the lyricism that they're doing. And sometimes choreographers go with that. They're like, we want to kind of create like opposite day kind of vibes in April, like a Fool's kind of approach. And I like it because it definitely showcases like, a lot of this kind of stuff, and it makes it feel like a strange world. Things are kind of turned on its head. Those types of choices can complement each other to justify a concept like that. The subtlety, bum, bum, hold it in. So I guess it's like, haha, hold it in. And then they, nice little ponies. So they go pony right there on the tempo. And they choose to syncopate it, have a fun, different rhythm going on in the upper body, very polyrhythmic. Why do my parents say, yep, I should stay calm and still? So, you know, like stoicness, like royalty. So I think that's really fun with the crown, where they're taking the leg, they're tapping it through. And then from there, it's really fun. They say calm. You want to say calm and collected. So you want to, that kind of vibe. So I like the choice where it kind of ping pongs its way down the body. It's really cool. The swoop through. And then from there, they use this scoop to promote a transition. My friends are the only ones who can understand me. Love that little moment from our feature with the hair. I like that part where you have a group of, I find it interesting, there are a lot of two-part features for this, which with an odd number group can't operate with a similar degree of be mindful of it on balance and symmetry. I've noticed more two-part features in this than I have in a lot of choreos. And I like it. I just find it interesting that normally I would normally want to see that in an even grouped, just in an even group, because it's going to feel symmetrical. Like I talk about it every time I look at a group, like every time. Some of you are like, Jessica, I've been on your channel for a long time. Stop talking about it. I can't. It's the first time we're looking at him, so I have to bring it up. Normally, whenever you have a two-part, and whoops, this would be your center, they would split center. So that's why it may feel a little bit like there's more people on this side than on this side, because that is in fact the case. But it's not cumbersome. And I normally give it a three formation you're out vibe. So far, this is the first time I'm really noticing it, which is impressive. I mean, we're almost a minute in and they're doing a pretty good job so far of holding it down. Great charisma, great stage presence. And that goes a long way in terms of other things that could potentially be off balance. It compensates for that. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just more of a choreographic preference. I always try to fight for to make it feel balanced in some way, shape, or form. But in other times, if you can cover it up, cover it up. If it allows, especially if you're doing, if there's two people that need to be featured at the same time and you want to do it in this type of formation, go for it. Looks great. I like the pickups there. I love that. Little patty cake vibes right there going into the columns. Presenting out. I love the swing there. Fun. You have your dancer. Welcome to the strangey world. Then they go ding ding. I like the fold outs there. Notice that we're building up in energy. So what they're presenting in force should also complement that. They go out and then back in. Really nice. She goes here, strange, ching. So this feels like an add-on. So the body is the add-on, but the true add-on doesn't begin until this group right here because their arms are different, right? But low-key not. She has hers connected and it's more pointed. She's our feature, so it makes sense why she made that concession. But I really like the twinkling in of the fingers, and these girls are all about to join in on that, and so it looks great. And right there on the base. Yeah, cool. Wow. Then they go. She switches her hips up. Really nice. Curiosity is getting bigger. So the movement should feel a little bit more full if we're talking about things getting bigger. If things are building up, you want to make it where we are building with it. And they do a pretty good job of that. So it goes and melts into a 1-part column, which is really nice. Switch, switch, 3. It says 3, and you notice there were 3 hands. And there's 2 hands, so I like the choice of the column or the line where you have 3 hands extended, then 2 hands extended, having your feature in front. 1, she goes 1, they all branch the arms up. Really fun, where you get to see about 4 out of the 7. They go out, ding ding, really like the choice with the hands, super fun. Then they switch, switch, which is cool, provides some variety of that. And then we separate. And notice that we take the same position that we did in the column or in the line, and we separate it to create a fun another reveal. So it kind of felt like an Oreo cookie effect of what we just watched in the build-up of the pre-course. Really cool. Da, da, da. Now this part, it does remind me of the section where they talk about being like a grown-up, right? But instead of hitting it to the front, profile front with the squaring of the hips, they have it facing more the side. This part's really fun. Ding, 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 with the folds, with the wrist. Very well done. I'm actually going to put this a 0.75 for the sake of catching everything, because I kind of feel like I may low-key be missing some stuff. My apologies for that. But I like the switching, like that very quick level change there makes it nice and fun and varied. Because if you do unison for a lot of it, it's nice to see everybody do the same thing, but you want to have some formations, dynamics, and levels that help break it up so it allows us to appreciate the unison moments more as we encounter them. So from here, everyone says that it's... I love the little dig dig, so everybody has their arms out. So we got 4 with their arms out, and then we have 3 with their arms up, so that's fun. It's a... they would have it separated by line. So these of line 1 and line 3 do one thing, and then line 2 does something different. But because of how the formation is set up, it looks more sporadic. So I like that choice. Looks cool. I love this part. Does it give Oompa Loompa? It does, but like the cutest Oompa Loompas in the land. I love it. Definitely feels, it's quirky. And then from there, the shift of the face into that is what really sells that part. It feels, excuse me, it's so strange. It kind of, yeah, it definitely comes across that way. So then they go over, and then they use the hands to help reset the head and bring their bodies back up. And they hit it through, boom, and now we've switched the levels once again. Ginga, ginga, ming, minga, yo. So there's a lot of these with a travel, gayo, that requires, it's tricky. Like, it's not something that you're just naturally going to get. You have to memorize, okay, if I'm here, now this turns into, something turns into a fixed point at some part. And then in other parts, you have to focus on the isolation of the head, but also not make the head move too quickly over the rotation of what's going on with the wrist. So there's a lot of, it feels like a lot of moving gears or shifting gears that are happening at the same time. And so this is very nice. This whole course is fun. There is a lot to digest in it. This would take me a good solid, you know, it'd take me a hot second to get the order. It's not difficult, but the speed and how quick the shifts are what makes each movement more difficult than if you just did them in isolation. Then from here, swing, boom. So they didn't really extend it up. I would normally expect something like that. So that was fun where they kind of kept it more internal. And nice little hop there. Then they hop, and notice they fold in that wrist. So that was a fun little punctuation near the tail end of that hop. This part here is a very tricky, I bet you, because you saw in the 1 mil choreographer demo, not the first one, but when you saw just the 2 go, one of them struggled on the stability of that. That requires a lot of core to be consistent on that. This part does remind me of a little bit of like a Bollywood influence. I'm not going to give it that because I don't know if that actually means something, and I don't want to say that it is when it's not, and it can actually be the opposite. So keep that in mind. It does have that influence. Notice with the fingers. Appreciate the symmetry on both sides. Subtlety with the head. Presenting the leg up. Really fun. And having your feature dun dun. Then they all snap it back down. Then they do the same thing as I did before. It's fun. I just think this is definitely, like I said, very quirky. It definitely showcases like a subtly unhinged effect about it, which I think is what makes it enjoyable, something always intriguing. Now, the more you're exposed to a particular phrase of movement or sequence of movement, it's going to not come across as complex because your body and your brain Your body, if you physically learn it, brain as you mentally are exposed to it, you're able to, the more you see it, you're able to break it down into more itemized compartments. That's the art, that's how our brain processes information. You're given information, sometimes in different contexts or different structures, and it helps you understand what that movement is, or understands what you're looking at from different lenses, which is really fun. But if you're given the same perspective of the same movement, around the same part of the track, your body or your brain is going to memorize those particular movements a little bit more effectively than if they were all different. So that does bring some degree of familiarity. It can help having that ending section, the trick here, this part, easier for the group to get on the same page on, because their bodies are all collectively going to be more exposed to that movement throughout the choreo than any other sequence. So I like seeing it. It's fun. It's a vibe. Bringing it in. I like this here where you have, honestly, you have 3. It feels more sporadic. They need to have everybody do it. I wonder if it's supposed to be everybody and they just went too early. No, that's fun. So you have a group, boom, 3, then 4. Very clear to see that. I really love even how they're setting it up with their head tilt, and you see how their eyes are all presenting to the front. Really fun. And then from there they dip, and then normally I see people move while they dip, but they dip first and then they move. I really like the hesitation on that. That's fun. And they only did a basket run for about what's the word? About 2-3 counts, and for me I give it about 4 counts before I say something like, ooh, we may need to find a different option. That's just with anybody and everyone. No one is safe from the basket run accountability. I mean, you can talk about with HHI, World of Dance, K-pop, Mega Cruise. If you do a basket run for like an 8 count, that is a potential wasted opportunity where you can add something to it to add syncopation, polyrhythms, or concept and aesthetic in essence. So if you've seen my Street Fighter series, I brought that up a lot during the Mega Crew challenges of all of them respectively. Now we're in a new verse, new feature. I love this poses. What is this situation? The spunkiness that she has. Spunky's kind of our word of the day. You really see it individually with our demo, but in this case, it feels like a collective spunkiness when appropriate, and I really like it for the group. And I like with one of our girls, she comes in, she taps on her shoulder. They're all like, huh? Go back down. So notice this does complement whatever we were seeing earlier with the folds outs. So I think that's really fun. There's our column once again. I feel like our 2 columns or 2 lines, vertical lines. I like them. Do we feel, I mean, I'll probably make this decision whenever I see the bridge again, not bridge, the pre-course again. If they set it up the exact same way, then I would give the note on, because we've already kind of showcased this type of formation with this group. I would want to potentially have it varied ever so slightly. I do like the arm presentation though. It looks good. Hey, so that was fun. To the front, really nice. So she brings her in and kind of absorbs her in the line, which is fun. So this is fun, having one of our girls extend her arm out and then the other 2 shoot their arms up. Then you have another girl, she puts her arms here. So it feels like a call and response between our 2 lines, which I think is really, really cool. Then you have it tiered into a level, then she swings it, they bring it out. Now the tricky part, when you have people directly behind you supposed to do the same thing, you will find more discrepancies a lot faster that way. So it's a higher risk if you're not clean. So if you notice right here, I'm going to slow it down. This part wasn't the cleanest, and you can tell because of my dancer number 2. Possibly. That boom, boom, like it's the range. The timing was fine. It was the range and the angle in which they start and finish that was off. So if they're supposed to look the same, they didn't quite hit over on stage right, but I really like the section of stage left. The little flick, really cute with the hand, really back, nice. They go extend it out. Notice my center, she's not leaning a particular direction. Makes sense because look at how balanced this formation is. This gets a chef's kiss for me. I love it. Notice that they're allowing the torso to go in opposition of the inside leg, and same with my dancers here. So I like what these girls are doing. They have to do their role in order for my center to do what she needs to do, which is not doing it. And then I like the opposite effect of having these 2 branch off the other way to showcase nice angles. This is fun, really fun. I like this section a lot. Dun dun, yeah, I like this part. Da 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 da. So definitely builds up the percussion here. Love that choice. Da 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 pa pa. Nice. So because we did the clap, our hands are already in the proper position. You just re-extend them out. They hop back in. Notice our mirrors, which are two right here. So the girls that are, if they were to face each other, they would look like a mirror. They went out and they went to their spot at the same time. That's what maintained balance in the transition and in the choreo, even though they weren't a part of the group. I love it when groups take time to really get that figured out because they can't technically see each other very well. So they have to practice to where it gets to a place where they have the trust of knowing my counterpart is going to be where she needs to be at the same time, and we can rock it out. And so I like that they very seamlessly joined back in with it, created every other visual with the ISOs. Boom, boom, really nice, very fun. This song does remind me of the track Ginger, but it's the bow, 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 that kind of sound that's happening in the track reminds me of that, but that's about it. Nothing else really does, but I think it's super fun. She said, I'm so impatient. I like that choice. She's the only one that moved and everybody was still, so it showed a lack of patience that she didn't stay in it. So I thought that was really fun. The same expressions as if they're all copied. The swing, ding, 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 same expressions, nor expressions happen in the face, so they're framing the face to really make that a point. I like that part, little step ball change. That's what it's called, beauty of growing up. Yeah, they hit it through, and I like the fact that they brought it from one side to the other as they did a rotation. That was fun. They hit ball change, so they use the hips to really make that a lot more full than if they just did the ball change. A lot of these leans that happen with the chest and the hips allow there to be a lot of spunky moments, a lot of moments where they allow a diagonal, or they allow more range or more variety in the posing potential. In this case, it's really fun to see that little hinge there. It feels like we're all in it in a very tasteful way instead of just doing movement for the sake of it. It feels like we're trying to sink into the music, and that definitely makes me want to invest more of my time watching, absorbing, and enjoying. I like that choice once again, and notice they had to modify their distance in that particular movement because if they kept going the same rate in which they did it the first time, their formation would be off. So that was very smart on their part to know when to travel it and when to stay still. So that was good. Am I only wrong? I love this crab step, and notice that they're hinged over to allow a very defined level difference between our feature and everybody else. Looks great. I love that hit, da-da-da-da-da-ba-da. Nice with the head accent on that. Then it goes, there's no dreamland, so they're like, nuh-uh. And then right here, dream. Of course, I would rather go to sleep for all day. I like this with the pulses that go in that pulse sound in the back. Really fun. Building it up, and then they bring it back in, aren't you? Then this part, I like how she's holding it. Notice that she's not really in a passe or anything. I would call this like a flamingo position, right? Where she's raised the leg. But I like how she's holding it and creating, honestly, what did she do? I think it's this, right? Kind of. Yeah, and then she's taking it through. So this is good shoulder flexibility on her part, showcasing a variety, a level difference between everybody else. Hit, boom, boom. I love that choice. Really fun. They pull it out. Bring it right back up. Change your world. So this part we do end up seeing for this section. Ding ding and the reset. So that's why the build up feels really nice here. World. So they go from a single to adding just two and then adding everybody else. Just like they did before, but they just did a different sequence. So the first one was here. The second one is here, which was nice. So they're building it up. Press down on patience. 4, 3, yep, so they went from 4, 3, 2, the same buildup that we did this time. Pony it, I love that, pony, and they rotated it around, then they brought it up, press down for patience, and they push it down like they're pushing a really big button, but in like a really fun, cute way with a hinge over. She goes, da-da-da, really quick, da-da-da. Remember, I did just end up slowing it down the whole time just so we can really appreciate all of it for what it is. That is confusing, and I love how freaking low they got. This is like a Saigon squat, like it's low. I know some people call it an Asian squat because it's a thing you can do. I can't really hold it very well, but hey, shout out to them. And I love the head as it just kind of teetered over. Really fun. Can't complain. Diddy, I like how she's stayed up. So this provides some variety from what we saw in course 1, but we got to hit things in a similar way, so there's a huge degree of familiarity to it, just like this move, but we saw it syncopated in a slightly different way, at least in positioning, but I really like the choice here. And I like this dun 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 instead of it being cute. It's definitely, everybody went from outside to inside to keep your feature framed in the center. And then there's your, I call this the cute Oompa Loompa. It's cute. Then they do the same thing. I love the speed change with everybody except for your feature. She's definitely dancing a little bit more on the double time. Or she's going on her worst. Da, da, da. They're all going boom, 2, 3. They're folding it down. And then you have your 4 and your 3. Great separation here. And then like from there, they go. The facial expression tells a huge story and really allows this to stay engaging because the movements are really cool, but going from happy to here, that is a choreographed expression shift, and that adds value to the section instead of just doing the choreo like what we've seen before. That makes me look at the choreo in a slightly different way because you're forcing me to see your performance, not just the skill set. That's very impressive. I love that. Done, explain. Same thing as what we've seen before, but notice it's a different formation. We're now hanging out more in a diagonal or not quite, I would say a window diagonal, you know, so it's more zigzagged. And then you have one point on the tail end down here. Looks good. Dun, dun, dun. I like that. Where it goes up here, dee dee dee, or I think they have it here, right? Da-da, and then they go dun, like they're waving, but it's a little rock star sign. And I like this choice with my lady over here. And then you have everyone like, what? Omo. Very much like that. Hitting it through. Dun, dun. And they go, what? And the swing, swing. And it matches what she's doing up here. But they're using their body and they're showcasing a lower level to make that happen. I like the brush and the brush. I love those little swing moments there. Then they rotate it around, so they go build, build, and a da-da-da-da-da with a throw. And we haven't even gotten to the dance break yet. And I love the quickness of that. It definitely feels more sporadic, definitely ties in. All day I go left and right. That part's called a Harlem Shake. Do I think that really popping off on the shoulders would have really made it feel more groovy in that sense? Yes, but based on how the choreography is structured, I don't think it was really needed, but I do like the fact that we can, you know, reference that to a Harlem Shake. I like that she goes left and right, then there's your little pony with the taking the shoulder to make it a fun accent point. There's your subtlety here, and it goes dun 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 dun, and once again you have the seriousness from humorous to serious, presenting it out. I love that with the legs, so it's like kind of like a little box step around. Then they switch it ting 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 with the switch 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 of the feet. I like the brushes of the shoulders before we get into 3 columns instead of just 2. And I like that X. Notice the opposition of the arms created the letter X, and then you have those in the front showcasing a baby O, and they have a big O. Talk what about a mistake, X or O. And I like, notice with the formations, you have just one person facing front. She's naturally my feature. Then you have more of a mirror choice going on with your 3 groupings. That's really fun, definitely balanced, and it feels symmetrical because it's mirrored. I like it. Gosh, this is fun. And I honestly too, what really helps sell this is the fact they're all in black and white as their combination colors. Having somebody as an outlier, I mean, that would be fine because you see that all the time in dance practices, but I really do like the cohesiveness of this because it allows us to really appreciate it and it feels unified as a group. Just like with the 1 mil one, they all had a similar color palette and it made us enjoy it and make it feel more like a concept. And then there's the same thing here. Hers wasn't quite as clear on this time, but we've already seen it like 3 to 4 times. So we have a reference point to go off of on whether or not they did it to the degree in which it's supposed to be done. So that's the only downside of the more we see something, the more we hold somebody accountable to doing it at the expectation they set. So that would be my one note. For a one take, who freaking cares? You know what I mean? Nothing crazy. Yo. I love that ding, 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 ding. Just pulsate on the shoulders. Nice little interruption there to reset. And they take the arm, dee-dee-dee, and it kind of feels like, you hear these, like, not gear shifts or anything like that, but it does feel like we're shifting our energy, which does in fact happen. Ding, ding, that sound in the back is what this part is going on, which I really like. That, it kind of feels like a robot deactivating, that into the snap. I like that with the head. Of course, our feature is the one that is not looking away. They are looking towards us. So that's a really fun, easy way to place a feature in a formation. Because notice, she's the only one looking at us. Very nice. The reflection of 11 in my heart. And I like that everybody's looking different directions because it kind of feels like they're looking at each other as a reflection. Love that. Ding with a snap. Notice the cleanness of the angles. Of course, where I have it stopped, they're coming out of it, so it doesn't look quite as clean here, but about a millisecond ago, it was nice and crisp. And then you have those that are not a part of it. There's 2 of them. So she has her arm out. I'm assuming just to match her line, but she's a little bit lower, so we can still see that feature no problem because we wouldn't see her if she did what the rest of her line does. So I like that concession. It's good to keep your feature in check. Looks great. Then they go, and I like the choice of having your back too. No arms, but my front four have arms, and then she takes this nice little moment and they all look like they're being controlled under it. That ba ba, cute. And I like this choice. This part's very clean when they did it, where they're up and then you see this swing effect take place with your feature and then with everybody else with their arms. That's really fun. Definitely, I mean, I'm trying to think, what is the reflection of 1-1 in my heart? Who's this Billlie in the mirror? I know that's their group, so it definitely feels like we are, it kind of feels like a seesaw, but like a reflection. It can come across like a little eyeball, not gonna lie, because of how my dancer in the back has her arm positioned. I think this is a really great in the framing extensively. Like, it's probably my favorite framing they did, and I like how she swung it to kind of throw it away. She has her little moment to the camera. Everybody else brings her arms up nice and tall. Really fun. My one note though is I'm curious if they're supposed to glue their forearms together or they're supposed to keep them separate, because if you notice that they have their hands glued here, everybody has that, but not everybody has their elbows glued, so that would honestly be my one note. I don't know what it's supposed to be. I didn't notice it in the demo. Well, now I'm curious. Let me see. This is just like one part. I don't even know if I can find it that well. There it is. It's right there. Okay. So we're here. They're not the clean, I mean, sorry, they're not the cleanest in their position either. So, I mean, that would be something that I would want to have nice and in check, especially if you only have one person as your feature in that moment. But I love this part because it ties into what we saw earlier after the end of course 1. I really loved that, going from 3 to 4 and then having it peel in this way. Not really a peel, but like a little accented with 2. But notice that it feels more popcorns, where you have these 2 go, and then you have, it looks like these 2 go, and then you're gonna have your group 3 go. Yeah, da da da. Those little moments help make the tone, or more the rhythm of the tone, match better, and makes me enjoy the track a little bit more too. Not gonna lie, it's good. That click click, so notice they establish it with their head and then they let the body go to meet the head, and the head ends up creating like a little fixed point moment to reset in the same space of the environment. Really cool choice. Then they take the arms, dee-dee-dee-dee, like the accent with the fingers, really fun. Then they take it, they peel it, going from stage right to stage left. I like how they all folded in. Look at the intention of their heads to their hands. Love that choice. I love that with my new feature, da-da-da. Cute. One answer only, so that's why she says the number 1. Everybody takes it, they branch it around. My one note though is you see some of our girls are poking their head forward. That could be one of 2 things. One reason is they just don't realize they're doing it, and you want to make sure you don't hit your head. A lot of times when you see people do whacking, that's something that you can look at, is are they poking their head forward. Second thing is shoulder flexibility. She may not have the shoulder flexibility to have her arms back here without moving her head forward to allow the arm back. So those would be one of 2 reasons. So my general note would be just to be mindful of anything that you do, whether it's a shampoo, overhead, an air screw, anything along those lines. You want to have that chin up nice and tall to have a sense of confidence, because it does look a bit downcast or more of an insecure approach. So I don't think that's a preference. I think that was just she didn't realize that's what she's doing. And then everybody takes the crown of the head and they snake it away from your feature, makes it very clear who it is. I like this rotation she does. She has an accent with her arms out. No one else does. They take it, they do a little kick, they swing those arms to reset. I like that boom, doom, doom. So the syncopation is now shifted. That boom, doom, doom, boom, doom, doom. So they match it very clearly. They match the top priority shift in the track. They hit to help us recognize we are in a different part of our song. So good job, choreographers, for that. They take it through. I like the rotation going from here to here, so they have them both facing the same side. I like the pickup of the foot. Then from there, they go ding, ding, and then they drop the body lower to create a fun choice with the pat on the foot. They do a nice clap here. I like the little chest rotation, having one little feature. She drops onto her knee. It doesn't feel like the most natural thing for her to do, but I appreciate the effort in what she's doing it though. I like from there a nice little head rotation to have that straight leg and one leg bent, so it helps cater to the lower back, providing stability, but it also makes it a more feminine moment. Really nice. And then with my girl right here, she does a little reversal up, fun. Ba-na-na-na-na. That little euro feels like whenever they whip it around, it does feel like we took the song or the sound and manipulated it over to stage right, which is cool. New feature coming in. That rum bum bum bum. I like the little conga line influence here with the little ponies. That's super cute. And then having one of them, you know what? That's probably why it feels very Red Velvet in some of their choices in tone. It reminds me of Happiness by Red Velvet specifically. Was that like their debut track? Oh my gosh, that just, whoa. I just dated myself real quick. I remember when that came out. Bless it. Okay. We digress, but it does feel that kind of brand of genre for sure. I like that dun 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 with the tap tap. Now this part, I was expecting this go pop pop pop, like if we're gonna go for it, like use the hips to really make the accent on this part. But I even saw in the demo they didn't really do it either. So I think that's just how it was choreographed. And they go over. And I like, of course, with the hair on that. Yeah, da 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 bum bum bum. So I don't know if they're supposed to switch on the legs or if they're just supposed to hop it. For me, I feel like that could have been like a really grimy, like full out moment, but that's just more, we'll chalk it up to a preference because with the demo, they didn't really pop off extensively either. So I think it's just a choreography choice. I like these little chugs right here. And then you hit it, pop, pop. I like the fullness of that. That's really fun. Right there into the hips. Then it goes click, click. Notice it's not smooth or accented. It kind of feels like like whenever you snap something, snap, snap. It definitely gives more of a sharper approach, more staccato in how they isolate it. And this, once again, this resets, boom, as my body gets involved, just like you saw other instances. I talked about one other instance, which was cool. And I like the subtlety of the shoulder on that. Really fun with your feature. Then your feature over here on stage left, she puts her arms up. Everybody puts them up to their head. So it's complementary, but definitely very clear to see who our feature is. I like how she branches it. They all do a little hair. And it goes, reset. So she's here. Cute. That's cute. It kind of feels like you think that's funny. Kind of feels like that. I love that. Boom. I really like the intensity that she brings it. Great charisma of the face. Do I feel like it would have been really nice to kind of workshop what would it look like if she went a little bit more full, using the back and the chest to really promote herself forward in this? But I like the hinge over with the cross. Can't complain. She hits it. Dun, dun, dun. I really like how they're digging in that. Really fun. Definitely lower. And I love the speed change of the fact that they're still going. Very nice. And so there's basically 3 things going on at the same time. And I love how complementary they all are. It looks great. Dun, dun. There we go. We bring those arms out. Boom. We go up. And then they've now switched. So the 2 that went really full out with their legs, they're now in and they're finishing out that little hinge. Everybody else pops it up. So I like the every other change, and my feature is still featuring because she's still different than both groups. Nice. Same choreo as what we've seen before, but subtly different choreographic like formation. A little bit more condensed, feels more clumped. And I let the switch on that. Whoop. Can't explain. Can't explain. Looks really fun. And then notice she did a little echo. Explain. Very clear to see who she is. And in this part, they all make different choices, which is different than this, but complementary because it feels more like everybody gets to make their own choice, which I love. Then they bring it up, and then they go, once again, that's what we see, call and response, where she gets to have her moment, walking forward, everybody else doing the same choreo. Clear to see who my feature is, here, and then we're right here at the end. Then they sit back into it. Very nice, and I love the fold over. Great flexibility on the wrist. Very clear to see the angle that we want to see. Everybody's looking where they need to look. I think one of my girls went a smidgen too early with her head, but I appreciate the visual choice. Doesn't really feel, I do find it interesting that we're going for a point on this whenever you do have a 1-point feature in the back. Normally, I would see 2 people split center, and then they would build up their V from there. So that would be what I'm used to seeing, but notice there's a crossover right here. And so that's why, to me, it does feel not in line, or not, I don't know if it's right, because this is that's where our center is. And it kind of feels like they're supposed to split it, but they're not quite, and then she's in center. So normally a formation would be set up around who your feature is, but she's in the back. So I'm very curious about this. So no, she's technically right because that spot was open for her and she sat in it. I just think it's so interesting that it doesn't, I'm just not used to seeing this choice. I think I've learned something new. This is fun. They rotate it over to the side and they expand it out. It makes sense. I mean, why they have it, it's cool. A little tap once again to match the beginning. She finishes, they come up, and then they boom to finish. Now, is there any movement that they do that, to me personally, justifies the choice of having it like a weaved formation, where she goes, and then she goes, and she goes, and she goes? You know what I mean? Not really, but this is a choreographer's preference, it looks like, and I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I'm not used to it. I'm totally used to seeing this is my center, and this would be my center split, and it's just a smidgen off on stage right. So I don't, let me look at the demo. Hold on, now I'm like really curious. Is that how the demo is? There's 8 here. Yeah, how many members does Billlie have? I've just been seeing 7, right? I think it's 7, but they have 8 here. I'm assuming they wanted both choreographers in this. But yeah, the choreography is set up that way. Maybe they wanted, maybe this is, just based off of this, maybe that's what they wanted. They wanted to have this every other effect, I guess. But this is so interesting. That's such an interesting choice. I don't mind it, because if you think about like your ending fairy vibes, like I do like having them that close. Like I like how it's layered. It provides depth to the formation and makes it a little different than just a typical V. So maybe we'll just chalk it up to that. They wanted to vary it without going too far in one direction on it. I don't know, but I mean, in general, I really liked this choreo. Note that I did have to go in 0.75 to catch everything, which showcases that it's quick. There's a lot of shifts in the music, very syncopated, and a lot of these choices are fine when you do them by themselves, but when you do them to the speed in which they're doing it, it gets really tricky really fast. So they did a fantastic job, and I think this was such a great start for me taking a look at this group. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Shelby, for the request. I mean, here's the thing. I feel very blessed on Patreon, specifically with the members who are in the Pocket tier. I love having everybody who is on Patreon. I think it's so cool, just the type of discussions that we end up having. But those that are in the Pocket tier, they recommend such interesting things. And Shelby's really recommended some really cool stuff. And this definitely did not disappoint whatsoever. I have people that recommend battles. They recommend like a very specific group every month, and I love all of it. And then I have some people that aren't a part of In the Pocket that have really great recommendations that are pretty that they're very helpful on current marathons that I look at. So I've been having just a total blast being guided through different avenues of the K-pop scene as well as the dance scene in general, just learning from different perspectives of movers, choreographers. Like that was such a different setup than I'm used to seeing, and so that's why it took me a second to be like, I see what they're going for, you know. And honestly too, a lot of times with choreographers, even though I may see something in one way, it may not have been the choreographer's intention, but that's what makes it so fun, and it promotes the art of what it is. You know, sometimes there's some formation choices or choreography choices that allows us to interpret things in subtly different ways depending on our lived cultural experience, and it makes it, I don't know, makes us feel like we understand each other, or we get to celebrate each other's cultures, or, you know, see what we relate to in different ways. It just feels communal, and I really like it. If you want to see more K-pop content or content dance-wise in general, I have a lot of it on YouTube, but I will always have more on Patreon, whether it is a K-pop type routine or a battle or TV shows. I do full episode reactions of a couple shows every week, so if there's something that interests you, I'll be there hanging out, but I'll also be hanging out on YouTube ready for some fun discussions. Once again, my name is Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.